The war in Ukraine has hurt many things, and we have all seen many things that been happening in the warfare, and also alliance within form, and alliance turns into enemies, and enemies turned into allies. We have seen many things, but there's one thing that we always underestimate is what is Putin thinking right now. Who should he ally with, and who should he not? We have seen that North Korea immediately opened arms to Russia, gave them all the supplies they need in exchange for food and technology. We have seen Iran, who was more than happy to give Russia what it needs, like the Shahed drone and many other types of drones, to help them in the war. Even though they know full well that they are in sanctions and they will gain even more sanctions after this, but they decided to help Russia anyway. India, on the other hand, is like a double-edged sword. India did help Russia by consuming more of their oil and then give them money and then also give them cars and plane parts. But at the same time, India wants to good allies with the USA. They want to have better technology to defend against China. China is like that kind of guy who wants to help you, but at the same time, his help is extremely limited. Even though China can help you, can help Russia, but at the same time decided not to help that much to the very extent. So Putin is now in a very tight spot. Putin knows this. He is not a fool. He is not one of those foolish leaders who just go to war and then lose and then comes back and then makes up a new drama and then thinks everything will be okay. Putin knows this. He's a very smart leader. He knows what he is doing. So at the same time, he also knows that he's looking for an ally that can really help him with all matters, just like North Korea and Iran, because they equally hate the West, but at the same time, they want to have good relationship with Russia, knowing that Russia will help them in the long run and will never betray them in the back. Just like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and many other African countries who saw an alliance with Russia, knowing very well that Russia will always favor them and always be with them and equally respect them. One country that I think that soon Putin will try to form alliance with is Afghanistan. And I know you're thinking, why Afghanistan? Why would Afghanistan ally with Putin? So since they are long-time enemies of the Soviet era, they fought against one another. But think about it for 1 minute. What is Putin hates one thing more than anything? Betrayal. And anyone who betrays him gets his bad side and he will completely kill them and remove them from power completely, regardless how powerful they are. And in Afghanistan, people over there, the Taliban, are ruled with an iron fist, but at the same time, they value religious value more than anything. And anyone who goes against the religious values, they will be immediately beheaded. That's why corruption is so low there. That's why people get proper salary there. That's why there is no more opium anymore production. And opium production is extremely reduced almost to zero. And only less than a handful of farms are even allowed to have opium, or they're making it secret. But the Taliban are not letting any of it being made in their country anymore. So, and they are also fighting against drug cartels and also terrorists. So think about it for 1 minute. Afghanistan has all the things Putin ever needs. And Putin is just looking for an ally whom he can rely on, who will not backstab him, who will always be there for him. And Afghanistan fits all of these bills correctly. But you may be thinking, what would Putin provide for these Taliban's warlords that they would want to ally with Putin in the first place? Well, first of all, Putin discussed with Taliban once for grain and soybean oil to their people so that they don't starve with it. Putin discussed with them 10 times until they finally agreed and allowed the food and grains. And the people are starving less right now due to Putin. And Putin understands what the Taliban wants. They want better jobs and they want proper salary, which the Taliban are more than ready to start working and give them proper jobs and proper money without any sorts of corruption and anything horrible in between them. So, what happens if Putin just goes tomorrow and then tells the Taliban that I want to install factories so that I can produce ammunition, aircraft, or some other kinds of materials needed for the war, and I'll use your raw materials because they are close nearby. In exchange, your people will get decent amount of jobs, and then they will have a proper salary given given to them, and there will be less people starvation, and people will have proper salary and proper money to live with. These kind of things Putin will 100% provide to the Taliban, and the Taliban will provide in turn the materials needed to fight in the war. And the Taliban knows this. The Taliban are also looking for proper allies that they will not get stabbed in the back, and they know this very well as well, like Putin. So I think my best option is that Putin will definitely within this year or next year will go to Afghanistan, will go talk to the Taliban, and then tell them of his issues and problems, and the Taliban will eventually ally with him because they know that Putin is the man they can trust. Putin is the guy who will not stab them in the back, and Putin will deliver what he promised to them. Just look at Burkina Faso when in the African summit in St. Petersburg, when all the African leaders were there. Putin didn't show one drop of disrespect in one of them. He treated each and every one of them with utter absolute respect, so that they understand that they are not treated as peasants, they're not treated as beggars, they're treated as leaders. And to the point that it literally started a revolution in Africa, in Niger, to the point that Niger leader was overthrown and a new government was installed, and the government ambassador immediately went to Russia to negotiate trade deals and everything. And their love for Russia was so high that all three countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, formed a complete alliance so that no Western countries could gain their resources. Have you ever seen something so quickly done in the modern day? No. It happened just because Russia gave them respect, the one thing no Western countries have ever properly decided to give them. This proves that Putin is a man they can trust. Putin is a man they can be trusted for all kinds of matters. So why won't the Taliban do it? After seeing this, why won't they form an alliance with Russia? So I think the best option right now is for Putin to wait for the right moment, go to Afghanistan, and he will form an alliance with the Taliban. And the Taliban will be more than happy to form an alliance with, because they know the Chinese are also brutally murdering the Muslims from from one district of their country. And everyone knows this, even the Taliban knows this, and they themselves said that they will fight against terrorists who come to their land and try to plot against China. But at the same time, they also know that the people in the Muslims are in China are suffering due to this. So Afghanistan, if given the chance, they will attack China if they have to do it, and they are more than capable of doing it. In fact, they are already, they seems to want to attack Pakistan for so many horrible things they are doing to their refugees, and at the same time constantly blaming them for every terrorist attack, even though this terrorist attack could be prevented by the Chinese Pakistan government, but they didn't bother to do it. So Afghanistan is almost on the point of forming an alliance with Putin, and Putin is more than happy to form alliance with the Afghanistan Taliban warlords. There's one last thing I want to end before finishing this video, is that I think this is going absurd, and everyone think that I'm crazy. But the thing is that we have to give them time. Both Putin and the Taliban warlords must be given time. Eventually, they will form an alliance, and they will do it. But they need time to understand everything. And Putin is a very patient man. He is not to do rash decisions. He takes his time, and after the time is properly right, he will make a decision, and he will do it. We just have to wait when.